The story of Leafpool and Squirrelflight in the Prophecy of the Three, and their interactions with StarClan, is messy to say the least. In fact, so messy that when you put all the pieces together from beginning to end, you can almost picture StarClan to be the villain this whole time. All credit to my wonderful cat artist and bestie Dako for this theory. I will start by summarizing it, and afterwards, I will give my own thoughts. So, the theory goes like this. StarClan as an entity effectively messed around with the lives of Leafpool and Squirrelflight so they could have complete control over the three prophecy cats. First, this assumes that StarClan is able to choose which cats the three are born to, and under this assumption, they felt they would have the most control within the clans with cats related to Firestar. Their original choice was Squirrelflight and Brambleclaw. They send Cinderpelt the Fire and Tiger sign to show how they were meant to be together, and they set up the Leafpaw-Squirrelpaw telepathic connection to ensure their safety on the journey. But instead, Squirrelflight and Brambleclaw fight a lot, and StarClan are impatient and just want them to be born. So when Leafpool was having feelings towards Crowfeather, they jumped ship to wanting those two to be the parents of the three. Both Feathertail and Spotterleaf convinced Leafpool to run away with Crowfeather, and then conveniently, as soon as the three are conceived, the Badger attack happens and Midnight is sent to bring Leafpool back to ThunderClan, just in time for her to be their only available medicine cat. But oh no, Leafpool as a medicine cat having kits would cause quite the controversy. So StarClan makes this pitch to Leafpool and Squirrelflight for Squirrelflight to pretend the kits are hers, lying about Squirrelflight being barren in order for her to reluctantly agree. And earlier, signs were sent to Leafpool to convince Firestar to make Brambleclaw deputy, so it becomes the perfect little picture where every cat in a powerful position in ThunderClan has the motivation to support the three all they can. Brambleclaw in believing he is their father, Leafpool in actually being their mother, and Firestar in being their grandfather and also being personally delivered the message about the three. Oh, and StarClan aids in the birth of Leafpool's kits for reasons? Guess they were extra invested in their safety. So that about concludes Dako's theory. As far as the validity of it goes, I think it's more a brilliant display of how messy the writing of StarClan was, rather than something the authors legitimately intended. The Squirrelflight can't have kits lie only became a lie several years later in order to create the marketable Alderheart, and that was sort of a big point in this theory. But more importantly, there's really no indication that it would be possible for StarClan to choose who the three were born to. If they were really controlling the situation so tightly for the perfect litter of three, they wouldn't put Dovewing in a completely different litter. The prologue for the fourth apprentice reveals that much. They are too confused about the prophecy to be scheming, not knowing that it was Dovewing and not Holyleaf who was the third cat until about the time Dovekit is born. Bluestar even points out the prophecy isn't theirs, and they should avoid meddling with it. It sounds like Leafpool having Jayfeather and Lineblaze would have to be out of their control. The prologue of The Last Hope with Rock and Midnight describes all prophecies between Firestar and the Dark Forest battle as being from the first sunrise on the lake, or the dawn of time as they call it, existing long before StarClan. StarClan couldn't have chosen Leafpool if they were prophesied to be Firestar's kin before StarClan even existed. And part of the reason the three are so special is their past lives as Jay's Wing, Dove's Wing, and Lion's Roar, all such lives being ancient cats existing before StarClan did. And to find out more information on them, Jayfeather has to go to the tunnel into the tribe territory, never the Moonpool or StarClan. Though that's not to say it's all wrong. While they didn't create the prophecy or choose any mothers, StarClan's meddling with Leafpool and Squirrelflight is as solid as fact. While I don't think they chose Leafpool to bear Jayfeather and Lineblaze, I do think they knew she had something going on. And the Yellowfang lying because she thinks it's the only way for Leafpool's kits to be properly cared for is exactly something that happens. The Council of StarClan getting all judgmental of Leafpool and Squirrelflight for having the kits and lying about it despite StarClan being the ones to tell them to do exactly that, also is something that happens. And if we go back to the fourth Apprentice Prologue, Yellowfang rejects Bluestar's statement she is all in favor of meddling, choosing to send a sign to Dovepaw. You know, Yellowfang really shows up a lot when it comes to StarClan doing questionable things. This unnecessary message to Dove, telling Jayfeather about Crowfeather at such a convenient time, lying to Squirrelflight, sitting on the Leaf Squirrel trial despite having obvious bias, given how involved she was in their lives. Oh, and she was the one who said ask for love too much. Maybe a topic for another video. Moving on. Skywatcher, a StarClan cat, is the one to deliver the prophecy in the first place. StarClan does have limited knowledge. They see some of what is going on, they interfere here and there to keep things on track, but they are not completely put together. Why do you think one of the major plot points at the end of Omen of the Stars is StarClan dividing and Jayfather having to reunite them? This was put into existence by some power higher than them. They are a mess. The Darkest Hour, probably the best conclusion to a Warrior Cat story arc, finished by making a statement that StarClan did not influence the living world, effectively explaining that all the vague and useless prophecies throughout the arc were intended to be just that, and that Firestar's own judgment was what was most important in the end. And Omen of the Stars has both StarClan saying they get their prophecies from dreams, so they don't control them, merely pass them down from the ancients, and the Ancient Cat Rock still says choice and freedom is necessary for the clan cats. So if we take this knowledge and apply it to the Leafpool fiasco, going after Crowfeather and then immediately being pulled back due to the Follow Your Heart message having two interpretations, I think this was also a non-message, and they figured the prophecy would fall into place. I mean, what forced her to go back and stay back? Midnight telling her about a badger attack, which eventually kills Cinderpelt, leaving her to be the only medicine cat? Midnight is not StarClan. She existed before them. So in this situation specifically, we can't really claim StarClan had the power and influence. It was just badgers. I guess you could say they were badgering Leafpool to go back. But also this explains why Cinderpelt's death was so unexpected that StarClan had to tell her in advance. It was a motion of the prophecy that StarClan had no control over. As I already said, Dako's theory is a brilliant display of how messy the writing of StarClan was, and we could make a case for Yellowfang specifically being irresponsible with her power, but it might be giving them a bit too much credit to say it was intentional. Regardless, it is fun to think about. Thank you, Dako, for the wonderful video. You are welcome to fight me if you disagree with my analysis. Alright, bye everyone!